Are you concerned? Well, you should be. Because that Brexit onion, layer by layer, it peels off some more eye-watering developments, such as October this year. Yeah. Oh dear, imports will be checked from the European Union. But it gets worse, it does. Come January next year, full phytosanitary import checks will apply to everything coming into the United Kingdom. Well, I'm in France, but yeah, into the United Kingdom. Oh dear. Well, we know the effect that had on our exports going into the European Union, because they're already applying them. It halved our food exports. Oh. There's a problem here, isn't there? In the United Kingdom, we import almost 80% of our food. Now, I know the government says it's 50%. Well, in fact, if you account for all the processed food, you know, all the ready meals that you love to eat, and all your Aunt Bessie's spuds, you know, that's horrible. Why do you eat them things? My giddy aunt. Just because you can't be bothered to roast a potato? I don't get it. But anyway, it's all going to be checked. Now, I know for a fact that companies here in the EU are saying, well, if we've got to do all this shit, we just won't bother. The United Kingdom won't be worth the candle. No. If half that going into the European Union, it's probably going to half the exports from the European Union into the United Kingdom. Just logic, isn't it? And what does get imported is going to go up in price because of all the import checks. Everything costs money. If you do a whole lorry load, it's about €600. If you do, I don't know, a couple of pallets, it's about the same. That ain't going to work, is it? No, not for these businesses, because they need to make money. They'll just sell it elsewhere. Probably in the European Union. Now, for us, it'll bring down the prices here in the EU. It'll bring prices down. But for you, your prices will increase. Just logic, you know, supply and demand. If there ain't enough food, it will become more expensive. The distributors will be able to call for more money. I know Tesco's or Asda or Sainsbury's will have the power to be able to say otherwise. It will be, well, the seller's market. That's Brexit for you. That really is. Well, I was just looking in this article here, food manufacturer article, and it say industry paper. It's, you know, the people that have to work in it all, basically, and they should know. So supplies of food during the Christmas trading window will face disruption thanks to looming Brexit rule change. Did you say Christmas? Oh, my giddy aunt does that as well. Oh, dear. Yeah. So over the Christmas period is when it's all going to kick off. Now, I made videos about this before, about your turkeys and stuff like that. Well, it's going to get worse. And that's just the start of it. Now, some people might say it'll be some teething troubles. Some of them will get ironed out. But you're not going to get away from the fact that many companies will, well, they'll just say no. And no longer supply the United Kingdom with certain foodstuffs, reducing our choices and also reducing the volume of food on the shelves. Now, I hear what you say. Oh, but Kemi Badenoch, she just signed the CPTPP. Yeah. Have you ever tasted a lettuce that's 11,000 miles travelled? It's going to taste as good as Liz Truss's. Oh, don't do it, chewy. Well, and rotten to the core. All it means is that we're going to be eating a lot more frozen food and not fresh produce. That's what this means. Now, foodstuffs such as meats and what have you, for it to remain as classed as fresh, they just half freeze it so it can travel for longer. 11,000 miles longer. Remember, the channel's 23 miles across. You know. There are already saying shortages on the shelves in the United Kingdom today. I know some people are going to deny this. But up north, they find it harder to get their food than they do down south. Now, as a supplier with logistics and what have you, it's bloody obvious that if you're a business, you want to spend less fuel. So why would you send it all the way up to Scotland when you can sell it down below because there's already a shortage? No wonder Scotland wants to leave the United Kingdom. They said the European Union then, but yeah, leave the United Kingdom. It's dysfunctional anyway, isn't it? You can't blame them. You really can't. They're better off out. No matter what this government tries to hoodwink people into thinking. It's a load of lies. Anyway, I do find this rather frustrating, I must admit, that people actually voted for this shit. Anyway, there's a survey's been done, yeah. It's a new survey conducted by the CCF, and it found that 39% of the food producing businesses in Europe supplying goods to the UK were not aware of the new rules. So they're not even prepared in the EU. It's going to be a shock to the system, isn't it? People don't even have a clue what's going on with the Windsor Framework. They can't get that one out. They can't work that one out yet. You know, Northern Ireland. Oh God, so they're not aware of the new rules and timeframes announced by the UK government. This is gonna be interesting, also frightening. My family lives in the UK, you know. I ran away to France because I knew it was coming. Well, actually, I already moved here, but there you go. But now, of the businesses surveyed, 41% said they do not have plans in place to ensure compliance with the requirement. Well, the fact of the matter is, they'll take one look at that and they'll say, well, I'm not going to sell to you now. We're going to sell to them over there, who happens to be in the EU. That's what will happen. Well, the chief executive, Shane Brennan, he said, it is deeply worrying that well over a third of these food-producing businesses supplying in the UK are not aware of this significant changes to the rules. Remember, Can's been kicked down the road several times. And it has. Now, the CCF has written to ministers with the survey's findings and requested that the 31st October implementation of the export health certificates to be moved back to 31st of January 2024. Well, remember, this is all part of the Trade and Corporation Agreement. We can't keep kicking that can down the road. We're kind of breaching it now. The government must use the extra time to deliver a much wider and better resource communications campaign, starting now to increase the awareness among EU businesses in enough time for a full implementation. It won't make any difference. That won't make any difference. You look at some companies, they'll say, okay, we'll go for it, we'll carry on, we'll just do as you ask, collect the VAT on your behalf and all that. Excuse me. God. And they say the cost here will be passed on to UK retailers, ultimately leading to higher prices for UK consumers and pushing food inflation even higher. Brennan continued. Only 60% of the respondents said they plan to seek to continue their service to the same customers at the same frequency. They say that now, but they wait when they get hit with all these new requirements and stoppages at the actual border. The stuff doesn't get through. It's happened the other way, so why wouldn't it happen that way? It's nuts. It's just... Brexit is just... Oh, it's just massive spanner in the works, isn't it? It really is. Food importation is an issue. And this is one of the reasons why we should be producing more food ourselves in the United Kingdom as individuals, on an individual level. You know, if you've got a garden, stop putting down AstroTurf, grow some veg, you know. Cut down the amount of transportation. Everything that you do isn't just about you, you help somebody else. Because that's one less cabbage that's been, sold to you. It can go to somebody who can't turn over their land or grow their own food. I know it's all small fry and what have you, but crikey, we're just in such a mess in the UK. And Brexit is really that coffin now. It really is. Anyway, you tell me. Please leave in the comments down below. I find it immensely frustrating because we all warned you that this was going to happen, and it's happening. And Christmas might be a little bit, how do you put it, less joyful this year than last. Maybe. Anyway, you tell me. Please leave it in the comments down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can do it on Patreon and buy us a coffee. And the links are down below. That they are. And it's time for me to go, so say to tell you now. So ta-ta.